Hey, what's good, movie fans? This is the Confire Crew, and we're here to talk about a little movie that come out this weekend, Captain America: Civil War. If those of you who are familiar with this channel know that we like to do a big show for big movies, and this is that one, right? We've talked about Batman v Superman, we've talked about Star Wars, now it's time to talk about Captain America. I've got two guests on. Britton no longer counts as a guest. This is his third appearance on this. So, Britton, you're no longer a guest. You're not important anymore.
All right.
We do have Glitter Geek, who is a professional in all things Raylo. Glitter, go ahead and introduce yourself, please, ma'am.
I'm Allie Sutherland. I'm the Glitter Geek. I'm a big Star Wars nut. I do like comic books as well, but I really love Star Wars. But I also really loved Captain America: Civil War, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Great. Our second guest on, for anybody who watches a lot of movies and familiar with YouTube, may have come across this person before. He also loves Star Wars more than anything in this world. And that is JTE. JTE, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited. I am actually looking forward to getting to Britain status. I want to be known not as a guest, as just a guy who's been on the show. But I want to get there.
You've taken the first step.
I did. This is the
first step is to be on, and so we've covered that. We'll see how the show goes. If it doesn't tank, think about having you on again.
Oh, thanks. I hope I'm not responsible for the end of your show.
And then moving on to Britain, that y'all probably seen this guy before, the Nerdy Geek, who also does movie reviews and talks about all things movies.
Yep, Nerdy Geek. Just one more fanboy spewing nonsense on the internet.
Yeah,
Nerdy Geek doubled up on that. I like it.
Yeah, we got Glitter Geek, Nerdy Geek. So we got the geeks, we got the backward hats, cool kids in the crew. We set. Britain actually took his kid out of school to watch this movie. So I'm curious, what you guys think about that, man? Did you pull your kid out of school to go watch Captain America? My vote is yes.
Yeah.
Hero.
Yeah.
But anyway, the way this format of the show works is instead of just a regular breakdown, we'll kind of ask different questions. I've got 3 questions that we're going to go over, and then we'll take turns talking about them. And so let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about this first question. And I want to know from you guys, what hooked you into this film? Because I know a lot of times when you go, especially for these really big films, you're almost over analytical, especially for us. We watch a lot of film that you're just, you want to break everything down. At what point, what is in this movie that just pulled you in, just like, take me along for the ride. I'm hooked in. This movie is awesome. We'll start out with Britton. Go ahead and start us out with this one.
I think the first action sequences was the opening thing that really hooked you in. I mean, it was, if not better than, or it was at least equal to the opening sequence in Winter Soldier. So it was insane action, and then also with at the end of it with Scarlet Witch killing a bunch of civilians. I mean, it set the stage for what was to come yet with the Sokovia Accords and the collateral damage, and kind of set the stage for the polarizing aspect of the film. So I really, that hooked me in right from the start, and then it just got better from there.
The action, the first open action scene was awesome. I mean, we got to see what Marvel normally does is they take these heroes that you're kind of like, well, that person's kind of cool, but what can they really do? What can Falcon really do? And then when he come in, he had some really awesome moves. Like he come in and did some stuff. I was just like, okay, that was kind of tight. Like he spun up in a ball and like had his little wings protecting him as shields and stuff. And of course, the first action scene was awesome. The only problem I had with the first opening segment was, was it Crossbones? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I wanted a little bit more from him. And that's very minor. Like I was still into it. It's not like I was watching. I was just kind of like, eh. But yeah, the opening scene was awesome. Glitter Geek.
Well, I was also hooked in at that first action scene as well. I've got a few things written down. The thing, though, that really got me was I kept switching teams. I kept switching sides. And I knew going into this film it was going to be very political. And as someone, I was a political science major in college, I loved that. So I kept going back and forth on my team Ironman and my team Cap. But that was the thing that got me, was that first action scene. And Scarlet Witch, what she was able to do just throughout that entire film, she was definitely my favorite character, I think. She was probably the thing that hooked me into that movie.
I didn't know she could do all the stuff she was able to do. Like she was doing some awesome stuff. But I was just like, oh man. This first scene, right? Like Crossbones, he's about to blow up. Now that scene was cool.
Yeah.
And like he was just like, you're going down. I was like, oh, how Cap's gonna get out of this? And she's just kind of like, nah, you're just gonna burn yourself up. I was like, holy crap, she's legit.
Yeah.
JT, what hooked you? The first action scene, did that hook you too?
I mean, let's be honest, guys. We were all hooked on this movie before we even walked through the theater. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What Marvel has done here is they've created this connected universe franchise where we're so into these characters. We're already invested in everybody. We already know we're going to get great action. We know we're going to get new superheroes. So yeah, I was hooked before I walked into the theater. I mean, I'm a big Captain America fan. I'm a fan of Iron Man. So this really is Avengers 2.15 or whatever you want to call it. It's Age of Ultron 2.5.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like we'll get a little more into the movie, but I was hooked before I walked into the theater.
A lot of times I'm hooked. Of course, hearing what everybody had talked about before, I was already set up for that. But a lot of times I go into the movies like so amped up for it that I was, again, like it takes me a second to settle in and be like, am I really going to like this? They're really good at action. And the first scene was phenomenal. But for me, Glitter Geek, you kind of hit on it when you said you were switching teams. Because, you know, I've seen awesome action before. I've seen a lot of these people team up before. And it was believable. The conflict was real. There was a legit conflict, even on the inside of me, was just like, whose side would I really take? Because they both make valid points. Like, I mean, and you know, I was concerned about how they was going to flip it, because you're kind of shocked like that. Captain America's the one who doesn't want anything to do with government, and Tony Stark is on the opposite end of that. I thought they did an amazing job making you believe both of their stories and their cases, where I was just like, I don't know. And so at that moment, I was hooked into that overall story that they was telling me, not just the action. So like I was game after that. Like I was just like, okay, I'm for real confused here. I don't know what I should do. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, that was what they did good about convincing me. Each one did their own thing. You know, anything else out of that? Like, cause you stayed in, I mean, I was once locked in, I was in.
Yeah, I gotta say, like one of the opening scenes in the movie is when Iron Man's at the school and he runs into the mother, and she talks about her son who's killed Sokovia. Like later, when General Ross is showing them like all the scenes from all the finales of the movies, like from Winter Soldier and Avengers, part in my head I'm like, guys, if the Avengers weren't there, the world's over. There's gonna be collateral damage. I mean, like I understand. The only one that really made sense to me, and I think this is why they kind of hammered home the Age of Ultron ending, is because the reason all that was happening was because Iron Man created Ultron.
Right.
So that one I get. I get that. Okay, that building, you know, the big rock should have never gone in the sky. The whole place should not have been destroyed. The only reason why it happened was because Ultron was created by Bruce Banner and Iron Man. But when they showed stuff from, like, you know, Winter Soldier, and they showed the big ending of the first Avengers, I'm like, come on, these superheroes saved the world. I mean, they can't be responsible for all the little collateral damage when the end result is how many lives they saved in the end. So I had a little problem with that, but I do agree. Both sides I did kind of waver on. I was a little bit more Team Cap, only because anytime, like, I mean, one thing we've learned from the Shield and all these other things is you can't really trust the government in these movies. Any kind of, like, government underground officials are trying to do something, you know, it's just not going to turn out right. And so when General Ross came in, which we haven't seen since the first Incredible Hulk, I was like, he was not really a good guy in the first movie. Like, so I always didn't trust him from the beginning. And I think later in the movie it goes to show you Cap was kind of right.
Yeah, he ended up being right. That's what kind of conflicted me, because at first I was like, no, we don't want the government in there. But when they started talking about United Nations, like this was the world.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't like a conflict between like America and another country. This is like, hey, we're going to use these. These are specialty where we might send them in to go help against, you know, attack on New York from aliens.
Yeah.
But at least it's agreed upon this, you know, like some backing, you know, just like if America were to go to war, there's obviously going to be collateral damage, but it's not like one mercenary team who's making those decisions themselves.
And you can see Cap's angle at it, because in the very opening scene of Winter Soldier, he's set on a mission where he was lied to. He thought he was doing something else, and he finds out he's basically picking up Nick Fury's mess. So at the same time, he's like, I want to be in control. I don't want to be set by organization because I'm not always going to know whether it's the right fact. And there's a great line of dialogue. Captain America's like, what if we want to go somewhere and they won't let us? Or what if they send us somewhere we shouldn't be?
Okay, y'all help me with this quote. I can't remember it. I had a 2-year-old with me when I was watching it, but it was something Cap said. It was probably around that same time when he says, we might still be humans, but the best decision is still in our own hands, or was something like that.
Yeah, he's basically we should be in charge of what we do.
It was the line that he said right there was like, that's a great point. Like, somebody's got to make the decision, so why not the most senior guy on the squad, which is Captain America, who's been around longer than all them cats.
His name's Captain America. If you can't trust a guy named Captain America, come on.
But all right, let's move on to our second question. And I did not know how to narrow this down. And so I was like, we have to talk about it. So let's just talk about it in all its glory. And that is just plain the airport scene. I didn't know how to narrow that down. I was just like, what was the best action scene? What was your favorite scene? I think a lot of us would be like, hey, we really like the airport scene. So let's just talk about this daggum airport scene and how awesome that it was. JTE, no, I got the last question for you. I'm saving that last one for you.
Okay.
Glitter Geek, take us off on this one, man. What stood out to you about this airport scene, for crying out loud? Favorite part about it?
Everything about Spider-Man in that scene, just like, I loved it. And that kid's personality, Tom Holland, has it down. But the thing that I liked the best, actually, was Black Widow and Hawkeye. Are we still friends?
Yep.
That, and I know that was supposed to be funny, but I think that said something for the entire group there. Like, are we still going to be friends after this? Are we still friends? Right. And I know that was a obviously very action-heavy scene, but yes, was the action nice to look at, but that dialogue throughout that entire fight scene, wow. That's what my favorite part was about that.
Britain?
All right, well, since you stole Spider-Man from me, and I know you probably would since you like Star Wars, and the Empire Strikes Back line is probably one of the best ones of the entire movie.
Yeah, it was really.
Antman was fantastic. Paul Rudd, I think he was just as equal, but somebody hasn't been talked about, or at least I haven't seen that much talked about, is Vision. And I thought Paul Bettany did a fantastic job again as Vision, and just he had probably the most dramatic part in that whole scene with him hitting War Machine and paralyzing him. I think that was probably one of the most impactful and heavily dramatic parts of that scene. Him seeing him just phase in and out and stuff. And he probably wasn't used as much as he could have been. He probably he was probably one of the strongest people on either side, and he held back and didn't do that much. But when he did let loose, he hurt somebody really bad. So maybe we'll see some more consequences of that later in the next movies.
I want to see what Vision can actually do, because they showed a little bit. Obviously, there was a scene where Hawkeye was attacking him. He kept disappearing and stuff, but they had to hold him back. Luckily, he's so meticulous and calculated that he's just kind of I think, believing this. But if Scarlet Witch didn't distract him, really distract him, where he was just kind of there, I felt like he could have wiped all of them out if he wanted to. So I know they can't do that for the film. And following up with you was talking about Spider-Man for me. God, I don't even know. Ant-Man, Spider-Man, all of it was so awesome. I like the humor that Paul Rudd was able to bring instantly as soon as he hopped in, which is why I think I like this action sequence better than anything I got out of the Avengers so far, which was when I go back and watch the Avengers there's some corny stuff in it. It's just kind of I take it with a grain of salt, but I feel like everything that happened in this, for me, the humor was spot on, because now you've got Spider-Man, playing off of Iron Man, now playing off Ant-Man. And when Vision, went inside of Paul Rudd, turned invisible and went inside him, dude, I was cracking up. Paul Rudd was just something's inside of me. I was dying off of that scene. JTE, man, break down this action scene for us, man. How awesome was it for you?
Okay, let me get my toys real quick, and I'll just reenact the whole thing here.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like. I mean, to me, this is the first time I felt that kind of joy since Avengers. Like that scene in the woods where Thor and Iron Man and Cap are all in the scene together, and they're fighting. That was like, your inner child who used to play with those toys, just like so happy. And I felt this way again because you throw Spider-Man, one of maybe the most popular character in the Marvel comics is now with Marvel, and to see him and Captain America fight, and there's that great exchange where he goes, you got heart, kid. He's like, where are you from? He's like, Queens. He's like, Brooklyn. And it's just like,
yes.
That's why I wanted my whole life. So that kind of stuff, I just love the interaction between the characters. Paul Rudd, I mean, he was fantastic. I think my favorite line in this movie is when he gets the shield back and he goes, I believe this is yours, Captain America. Like he says it like he's on Super Friends.
Yeah.
Like a old cheesy cartoon from the 80s or something. I just love that line. And Paul Rudd, actually, when he showed up in the movie, my theater cheered. I think people really loved Ant-Man. It was a pretty big hit. I think it found more of an audience when it hit Blu-ray and all that. I think he's just a perfect addition to this team because he's so funny, he's so witty, he's different from all the other characters. Like Tony Stark's funny in a different way. He's kind of like that smart ass kind of funny.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd he's the fan. He's us. He gets out of that car, he's like, oh my God, you're Captain America. Like even like reaches and touches his biceps.
Yeah.
He's like you're having your action figure. But the choreography in this scene is amazing. The thing is, a lot of times when Age of Ultron, I liked the movie. I was a little disappointed in it. Half the fun of those movies is seeing superheroes using their superpowers against other superpowers. Mm-hmm. It's not as exciting when they're facing just, armies of robots or aliens.
Right.
When you get an actual showdown of like, that's one thing I really like about the X-Men movies. The X-Men movies do a really good job of mutants using their abilities against other mutants. So to see superheroes taking on superheroes and using their abilities, like Spider-Man has that great line where he's like, that shield does not obey the law of physics.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, but you know what? You don't care because it's just so much fun. I think the Russo brothers did a great job. Apparently, they brought in the directors of John Wick, who they're really good friends with, came in and actually helped them choreograph a lot of that scene. I mean,
do you know if it was just that scene or was it some other? Because I feel like I saw their work at the end scene too, but I could just be looking into it.
The airport scene. From what I read, it was just airport.
Okay.
Shooting that airport scene was like shooting a whole nother movie within itself, they said. And I believe it. And seeing it the second time, it actually felt longer. Like the first time I saw the movie, which was like a couple weeks ago, I saw early screening, and I was just having so much fun. I think it went by so quick. When I watched it the second time, I said, this is actually like a good portion of the movie. They go on for like 10, 15 minutes.
Do they? I'm going to go back and watch it again, but I'm with you. Like I was just like, again, action orgasm. That's the title of this thing. That's what I felt like. There was just so much. Like you're with two characters, they're fighting, and like you don't want the camera to leave them, and you're like, oh man, it left that fight. I want to keep watching it. But wait a second, this fight is equally as awesome.
Yeah,
that's going on. And Spider-Man was perfect. When I didn't know he was that strong, like when he caught Winter Soldier's arm. Oh, cool, dude, you got a metal arm. That's what I was cracking up. I didn't know Spider-Man. I'm glad he has that kind of strength because right after that, he threw a car at him. He's like, here, you drop this. And he sent a car flying. I was like, okay, so Spider-Man can legit physically.
And another favorite line of mine is when Ant-Man shrinks the little truck and he like throws it, tells Captain America throws it, and it explodes. He goes, "Oh my God, I thought that was a water truck." Like little touches of humor throughout are just make it so much more entertaining than it already is.
But it was perfect. It didn't seem like a super cheesy setup. It was just like, it was just funny, and it was so fit into Ant-Man's character. I love even the way they brought him in, which is another point I want to make about this film, was how smooth. A lot of times you worry about, hey, we got to cram these guys in to make them fit. Nothing felt out of place. Everything smoothly transitioned. Everybody who was there, it felt 100% natural, like they should be. I mean, even with the setup from Ant-Man, when Falcon was just like, I know a guy. Well, if you watched Ant-Man, that was kind of the theme of that, was like, I know a guy. Like they went through it, and I really enjoyed that little bit. As soon as he said that, I knew it was like, oh, this is when they get Ant-Man.
Yeah.
So, and, Falcon obviously didn't want to confess to the fact that he got, handled. He was just like, that was a good tryout,
Yeah.
that we brought you in. So I don't know. There were so many just awesome things. I didn't know. I forgot Ant-Man could grow. I mean, I'd seen the cartoons. I knew he could, but it didn't dawn on me until he did it. And when he did, I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot he could do that. Of course.
They set it up in the first movie because he was like throwing those discs around. Mm-hmm. And I just wasn't sure if they were going to introduce it in this movie. I thought maybe that's something they would introduce in Ant-Man 2. But when it happened, I was just ecstatic. I was like, yes, this is awesome. And then the reaction from SpiderMan, holy shit. Like, he just literally says what everybody in the audience is thinking.
Yeah. And what I think Tony had, or Tony Ironman had a great line after. It's like, does anybody else have any more on our side have anything they want to pull out now? That was perfect.
They're holding on to.
Yeah. Anybody hold on to some tricks? Yeah, that was all the whole scene. Now let me ask you. This is, I guess it kind of goes with this, but just in general, because we haven't talked about it yet, and I don't have a question for it, but I'm going to enter it in right now. You know why? Because I'm running this show, and I can do that. And that is, how do we like Black Panther? We finally get to see him. A lot of people are not familiar with him. I was vaguely familiar with the character. We've never seen him on the screen before. How awesome did you think Black Panther was? I mean, they had him like a ninja, which is cool. They had him like a panther. You'd see when Captain America would drop or Winter Soldier would drop, it was thud. It was a boom. You didn't hear him fall. He was just really smooth, and he took off running. I was just like, I think I like this character a whole lot. I finally, as the brother of this show, I've got to rep my boy Black Panther right now. And I think he was nicely done in this. And again, another natural appearance. I guess I'll Glitter Geek. What you think about Black Panther?
Well, you were right with the landing. It stuck. It was kind of like in the Olympics when you're watching the gymnastics and, he stuck it. It wasn't a thud. He stuck it. I loved watching the claws come out and I loved that. And his motivations, I felt like it was so natural. And, sometimes in these movies, their motivations feel a little bit forced. His, not forced at all. It was, you completely understood. I mean, we saw it happen. So, yeah, I loved him. I can't wait to see more from him as well. I had no idea on the backstory of the character. I'd never read any of the Black Panther comics. Okay. So I was fresh to it, but I really loved him, and he was definitely a standout in the movie.
Okay, this is interesting. Now, for somebody who's not familiar at all with his backstory, did you at any point feel lost or confused, or like how did he fit in? Like everything was just cool with this character? Yeah, no, I felt like the scene if you hadn't had the scene with his father at the UN, I don't think I would have felt that way. But that scene with his father where they were talking and you realize that this guy, I feel like Bucky's such a good example of someone who is just all over the place. Obviously, he's all over the place. And it was nice to have a character who wasn't all over the place. And he was firm in his beliefs, and he knew what he was going after, and he had his motivations set. And he was he was the best constructed supporting character, I felt like, in the movie. I'm with you. JT, what do you think about Black Panther?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I'm not super familiar with him either. Like, I've seen him in some of the animated films and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard. I'm more interested to see what they're going to do in a standalone film because I don't really understand fully what his powers are. He puts on this suit, which is, made of the same metal as Captain America's shield. He has little claws that come out, like would scratch you. But that's like all his powers. I mean, apparently he has agility and some strength also. So I'm really curious how the film's going to be. I think once I see the Black Panther film, which is going to be directed by Ryan Coogler, who's a fantastic director, I think I'll enjoy this film more when I go back and revisit it.
I
have a little bit more.
I'm not sure, but when he said something, and Brittany, if you know, let me know. I kind of wish I had Nate, my buddy, on because he's the one that reads all the comics. But it's like the mantle that is passed on from the person, like when he put that ring on from his father, it might come with some magical black magic type abilities. Like once you become Black Panther, it comes with a set of abilities as well.
Wait, are you saying that was like the first time he put the suit on in this movie? I don't feel like.
No, maybe not the first. Well, I said the ring. Like, well, that might probably signifies him being a king, but I feel like the Black Panther story is once that mantle is passed over, because he said Black Panther's protected my tribe. I think it comes with like magic. There's abilities that come with it. Like, okay, I'm now put on the suit. I'm now Black Panther. I now harness this ability. Maybe I was gonna say like the Phantom, but he didn't have abilities. He just kept dying.
I'm gonna say he's been the Black Panther for a little while before that.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think maybe his father used to be the Black Panther, but he took over because his dad was old.
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
So I'm guessing he was being the Panther for a while. And it was a cool way to introduce him. You know, they gave him motivation with his father and everything. The chase scene, I thought the chase scene with him, Bucky, and Captain was awesome. That was really what sold me. He was pretty good in the airport scene, but I'm really looking forward to seeing more and see more of his abilities and how they could incorporate it into his own movie.
All right. Britton, thoughts on Black Panther?
I thought he was great too. I really liked how he switched at the end, like where he didn't pursue, he knew that this was the guy that he was after all along, and I've seen debate on whether if he actually switched to not wanting to kill him and not wanting vengeance, or if it was because, hey, you want to die? Nope, you're going to be punished longer for that. So either way, I thought it was really a great scene, ending scene where he's like, yep, nope, I caught you, and I'm going to bring you to justice. He was really the through line through everything. I mean, he didn't really have a side. He wasn't on Captain America's side, it was on his own side. He was on his own side to avenge his father, which I thought was great. I thought, and it could have been really a really messy part of the movie. It wasn't. It was pitch perfect.
They did good. I didn't pick up on it when it happened in the movie, but later I picked up on it that he's a panther and he jumped on Falcon, the bird. So it's kind of like a bird and a cat. Like, I don't know why I didn't pick up on that when he jumped on his back, but I don't know. I thought it was interesting. But hey, all right.
What's also interesting is he reveals himself to be Black Panther.
Yeah,
right.
He gets surrounded by cops. I was like, oh man, secret identities just aren't a big deal in this universe.
Yeah, not at all. Plus, he's a king. He had swagger. His I don't know if it's an alter ego, but when he wasn't Black Panther, he just kind of had a way about him where I was just as interested in his character as much as he was Black Panther. That I enjoyed from him. So I don't know. They put together an awesome cast and awesome characters, and they've so far been doing them all perfectly. I can't imagine them being anything else at this point.
I really want Black Panther movie to be very similar to Coming to America. That's all I could think of while I was watching the movie.
He's going to be in a McDonald's. Somebody's going to attack it. He's going to pull out a broom handle and handle business. Yeah. Okay. Last question. JT, you can open this up for us. Is this the best ending to a Marvel superhero movie that we've ever had?
The best ending.
The best ending. The end sequence, the climax, if you will, right there at the end.
Oh, man.
You said you like being put on the spot. I need an answer.
No,
Is this the best?
I don't think so. You know why? Because that airport scene is so damn good that no matter what they did at the end of that movie, it wasn't going to live up to it. So it didn't feel as epic as that airport scene. Now, if that airport scene was the end of the movie, you got me. I'll give it to you.
All right.
But I don't know. What is the best ending to a Marvel? Now you're asking the question, what's the best ending to a Marvel film? Winter Soldier was pretty good. I like the Avengers because that last battle scene at the end of that movie.
The first one?
It's just, the first Avengers. Like, seeing those guys use their powers. There's one shot where Captain America uses his shield and Iron Man shoots his phaser into it and he blocks it and knocks it down. And then you got Hulk. So, like, if you consider that the ending, I kind of got to go with Avengers.
Okay, so the Avengers, the best ending, which is kind of like that was their airport scene.
Yeah.
They just brought it up at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Britton?
I want to say no, it's not the best ending because I kind of had an issue with Tony's motivation at the end.
Okay. I know you do. I saw that video.
That was my only complaint really of the movie, and it's not a big complaint. I mean, I still got why he did. I just thought that within the framework of the story, I don't know if he would have reacted that heavily to it. I mean, I get it. You see your mom killed, you're gonna react heavily, but it just, I don't know. I thought maybe they could have done a little bit differently. Maybe not have him so accepting and on Team Captain America's side going into the building. Maybe him still have reservations about Winter Soldier and different things that they're in, and it's not that big of a switch because he was all for, I screwed up, I was wrong, and then he backpedaled right there at the end and flipped once he saw the video. So I don't think it was the best thing. It was a great fight and great choreography and still fantastic. It just that. So I don't think it was the best ever. I'd probably have to go with Avengers. I think, and Winter Soldier was great too. But I think Avengers still was probably the best.
What happened at the end of Winter Soldier?
That's when the helicarriers are up top and they're trying to find, and Captain America and Falcon have to go take out all the helicarriers.
Okay.
And fight between Winter Soldier and him.
No, I will say the first Captain America movie had maybe one of the more emotional endings to me. When he's like taking the plane down and Haley Atwell's like crying.
Yeah.
He's like, and then they cut it mid-sentence. He says like, "Make sure you save a debt."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Roger." And then that was pretty awesome. And then for him to wake up in the future and they're trying to trick him like it's the past, that's a pretty damn good one too.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't steal yours, Glitters.
No, you did not.
Okay.
I actually, I can't at the moment tell you which ending is my favorite out of the MCU, but I can tell you that I thought that this ending was really, really good. Do I think it was the best? No. But I thought it was really, really good. I thought that the way that it led into the jungle and you saw the Black Panther there, it was just the perfect lead in to the Black Panther movie. And the emotions when you see Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye and Ant-Man locked up and there's Steve Rogers, who's going to save the day. I thought that was a really nice ending. It was emotional. Was it action-filled? No, it was not. But I thought it was what we needed in this movie.
All right, so I'm the only one that thinks that this might be the best ending. And it gave me the idea, Brent, when I was watching your video and you said you had the complaints with, his mom and how he reacted. And I'll tell you why I like this end the best. For me, it's about Civil War, and the whole time, Captain America versus Iron Man. That's what we got. It delivered on that, and it was the end, I think, which what really that was really them going head to head. And I like the way that he did flip back, because let's think about the Tony Stark that we have now. He's a little bit more reflective. He almost died in New York. He's feeling sorry that he killed that kid in Russia, wherever they was at. And Pepper Potts has left him, so he's struggling with that. So he's got he's reflecting. He's reflecting on his life. He's reflecting on himself, on who he is as a person. And they set it up earlier when he flashed back to his parents, the last time that he saw his parents. And his mom in particular, we know he had issues with his dad, but he even made the comment, "You killed my mom." He didn't say my parents. He said, "You killed my mom." Like, that's my mom. Well, you get the Tony who's like, "Hey, you know what? I was wrong. I'm going to go. Let's go get this done." And then imagine the type of emotion that you would see. He was on board with Captain America. It's never really signified that he was 100% on board with Winter Soldier. Cap's his friend, and he wasn't there to hurt Cap even after he saw the video. I mean, he slapped him, but he was going after Winter Soldier. That's who he wanted. Cap interfered. But right when they showed, I thought it was an awesome ending. I did not see it coming, which is rare that movies do something that surprises me, especially in something like a superhero. But it surprised me. As soon as the film come on, I was like, "Oh my goodness, that's his parents." And think about this whole time, you're not really on board with Winter Soldier, and then you see him kill your parents. It's like, I can't forgive this. This has to go down.
Okay, you saw it coming. Allie, Britton, did you guys see it coming?
I didn't see it coming.
You didn't, but did either you guys?
I didn't. No.
I kind of saw it coming. I thought
I saw it coming also.
I thought I saw it coming. I was like, well, this is what they're setting up, especially with the car and stuff. And when they open with Tony, I'm like, yeah, that's where it's going. That's where it's headed.
But when did you see it coming in the movie?
I'll tell you one pretty early. When I saw that opening scene, I said, okay, I didn't have it then. But the second they showed that flashback scene, that he was like, what other purpose does that scene have besides the fact to show us?
Yeah, right.
Robert Downey Jr.'s parents. It's never that whole thing. He shows up, the whole whatever the hell, in your imagination, tell virtual reality. It never plays another part in the whole movie.
You're right, it does.
Yeah, and he's never mentioned in any other movie really that talked about his mom that much ever.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just kind of thrown.
It was a setup for the end, but I missed it.
I saw it coming, but what really helped that scene was how brutal it was.
Oh yeah,
that's what
that
really.
Is true.
Yep.
That what kind of got me. Okay, I get why Iron Man's losing his shit. They didn't just show the crash and then they died in the crash. He literally punched Howard Hawk in the face till he died, and then you see him starting to choke his mom. To make it that brutal, that's what really pushed me over the edge. while I saw that coming, I didn't see them showing that much.
Yeah.
So that was surprising in a way.
And I love that. I was like, at least you can get on board. At least it wasn't so forced. Like, and I'm not even gonna bring up Batman v Superman. I'm gonna leave it over there. But at least it didn't feel that forced. Like I could get on board. Like, you know what? I would go after this dude too. And the airport scene, like even the comment you'd make later about, are we still friends after this? It felt like buddies fighting in a backyard. You know, back in the day, people didn't shoot each other. They just got in fist fights. You might be friends. You're fighting. People got busted lips, broken nose, and black eyes, but you wasn't trying to kill the other person because you're still friends. You know, you didn't have that hate. That's what I felt from the airport scene. What I felt from the end was the opposite. Like, no holds barred. I'm here to put you down.
Yeah.
And he tried everything he could to do that. And
Cap was just in the way.
Yes. And when Cap was whooping on him, and then he was like, analyze fighting patterns. And then he stopped. I don't know if you caught it. It was so fast. But Tony put his elbow up, and he shot a blast the opposite direction and elbowed Cap. I don't know if you caught that. It was really fast. In the middle of fighting, he put his arm up, and then he shot a blast to propel his elbow into him. I thought it was awesome. And Iron Man whooped both. He blew Winter Soldier's arm off.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see that coming. He blew his arm off, and when it showed, I was just like, oh, motherfucker, Iron Man. God.
Wait, so are you saying he whooped Cap too?
Yes, he had Cap. Look, in a 1v1, he had Cap down. Winter Soldier had to step in at the very end and get him off of Cap, and then that's when they got the upper hand on him.
But then Cap just went to work on him.
Oh, Cap went to work on him, but he went to work on him after he had to have help.
He had a little help. He was like, I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, he had when he flipped it and he said analyze a fighting pattern. He had Captain America
at that moment,
down.
Iron Man was just getting beat down.
Yeah, Iron Man was getting handled. He switched
Cap
it.
It was like Rocky and Mr. T. He was on him in the ropes. He was like, I was like, no, this is straight up fisticuffs.
It got intense. Just think about all that happened. He blew what's his name arm down. Of course, you have that awesome, and I didn't pick up from the trailers, but Tony Stark said, correct me if I'm wrong, the exact same line that the bully said from Captain America 1. You know, when he stands up and he's like, I can do this all day. I think that dialogue exchange was identical. But after that, after he said, I can do this all day, Tony had him down. Tony was going to put him down. Winter Soldier stepped in, and then Cap got on top of him, and then put his shield right in his chest, and it just stood there. And I was like,
power source.
Yeah, that was great.
For me, that's why it was. It was a little bit more intimate of a fight. I believed everything they was telling me. I thought it was amazing to an end, and I feel like it's an ending that I can continue to watch and never get tired of it. But for me, that's why I feel like it was for the best.
It's up there.
Yeah, I think if you take out maybe one line for me, and I might have been more on board. Like when he says, "Hey, Manchurian Candidate."
Oh my! You didn't like that?
I thought that was
like it was a great line, but take that out because that he's saying he knows that he's been brainwashed. He knows that he can be turned on and off, and that it wasn't really him doing those things.
That was before he saw him choke his mother.
Yeah.
No, I know. I don't have that. I don't have that big of a problem with it. It just that was just if I'm nitpicking the movie because it was so good, that was my one issue.
But what about since you can be controlled to the point where you can kill innocent people, you need to be stopped.
Yeah.
Which is why Winter Soldier goes back down under. He's like, "Wow, I got this. I can't even trust myself, so put me back down." I guess that's really it I have to do. But I just one more thing I want to talk about. Is Captain America and Winter Soldier like the best superhero duo? How awesome was that small little scene when they were fighting in that apartment? And I loved it. It was so subtle. It wasn't some huge... But it's when they threw the grenade in and Winter Soldier kicked it. Like, they weren't buddies. They weren't on the side yet. But he just knew. They trusted each other. He kicked the grenade, and Captain America just put the shield there. I love stuff like that. I love synchronized, I'm inside your head. I don't need you to talk about it. We operate as one.
Well, this ain't their first rodeo. They were in World War II together.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
and you got to see that.
Yeah, they've been together for a long time, fighting with each other for a long time. So I think that just comes second nature at that point.
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Their ability to work together was cool. You've seen the Captain America shield stuck into the wall that you have in kids' bedrooms. Mm-hmm. They did that in this movie because they threw it and it stuck into the wall, and I was like, they trying to sell toys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah, for sure, man.
One thing I noticed when Captain America had his shield, it looked like the normal shield that he would put straps on. remember in Age of Ultron, he had one that had like an automatic, they basically solved the problem where it was like, whoosh, it brought it back. Yet they seem to lost that in this movie.
I didn't see him like any magnetic thing like they did.
How did they? I didn't see them emphasize it one way or another.
I'm wondering, but it just it looked like a different kind of backing of the shield. I thought that was a little weird. Like, why would you go backwards?
I'd have to go back and look at it. I'm gonna have to go back and look and pay attention. I don't remember them ever hinting at it one way or another. Maybe we're just supposed to assume that they fixed it in that one, that it's the same. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check it out. Which that was also a pretty impactful part too. When he says, "That's not your shield. That was my father's. He gave it to you," and he just drops it. It almost kind of gave you chills. Yeah.
That's a nitpick. I'm not even complaining. I'm just like,
oh yeah. Hey, the movie was so good. Everything that we have a problem with was a nitpick. You know, me with Crossbones, you with the Manchurian Candidate, which I cracked up. My audience did not appreciate that. I don't know if they understood it, but when he said it, I was just like, Denzel Washington, you know. But
how many cities did they go to in this movie? Every 5 minutes, I was like, Berlin. I was like, I'm losing track to where the hell we're going here.
That was my other small nitpick. It was the font they used that just blew up on every single. I'm like, okay, that before the ending, I was like, well, I guess that's the only thing I can complain about because that's the only thing that bugs me.
I feel like we're watching a YouTube vlog, and that was like, you know,
It's like one of the Bourne movies. They just kept jumping different cities. I was like, I don't even know where I am anymore.
Yeah, they got around pretty good. But, man, I think we covered Captain America pretty well. We enjoyed it. I want all of you guys to go. Everybody in here has their own YouTube channel. We've already said we got Glitter Geek. Her channel will be in the description below. All Things Star Wars. See that lady right there. Britton does, interesting movie reviews as well. His description, not his description, but his channel will be in the description. And then JT, you you help out with Screen Junkies, a big part of Schmoes Know, and you've got your own YouTube channel. That's also now those are mostly movie reviews. I haven't watched your movie review over Captain America yet because I don't watch any reviews until I see a movie that I'm really anticipating. Like if it's something I know I'm going to go watch, because if somebody like little things can ruin a movie, like just like. It was awesome. Wait until you see this one scene. Then I'm like, I didn't want to know that. But you do movie reviews and breakdowns, and you also do trailer reactions, right?
Yeah, I basically just do whatever is geeky. I don't really.
There's no format, just whatever comes to mind.
I had a podcast for a long time. People kept bothering me to do movie reviews. And, working at Screen Junkies with Schmoes, I have access to a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, why not? It literally takes me 5 minutes to turn on the machines and throw a camera on my face and talk about movies. I just got I used to go to a lot of press screenings. Like I said, I saw Captain America pretty early. I saw Star Wars early. So I'm like, if I'm going to be able to see these movies early, if I can get my review out there, why not do it?
For sure. Yeah. But go and check him out. All these people again. It's going to be down in the description.
Thanks. That's the name of my channel. JTE Movie Thanks.
And Twitter, you're very active on.
At Schmoes JTE. You guys catch me on Screen Junkies. I was on I've been making a little bit of a tour this last week. I was on Movie Talk on Friday.
Yeah.
I did 2 weeks of the Schmodown. I'm on Does It Hold Up, which is a Screen Junkies Plus exclusive. $5 a month, and it kicks ass. A lot of great content. And every Thursday with Schmoes Know, and I have box office breakdown on Mondays. I'm doing too much, people.
Busy man. But you're out there, living it, and it's cool because you get to do what you love, and I'm sure that's something that the other three of us eventually want to get to, where this is kind of our job. It's kind of like a priority for us where we get to see this. I was so jealous you got to see it.
I'll hire all three of you, no problem.
Yeah, sure, come on out. I'll fly out to LA. We can make things happen. Yeah, no problem.
All East Coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midwest,
East Coast.
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. So
I'm in Virginia.
Oh, okay, nice. You guys need to come to Hollywood, man. This is where it's happening.
I'll be down there. I might go to Star Wars Celebration. I think the ticket's going to, because it's going to be down in Orlando. That's somewhere where I can get.
Oh, Orlando. Is that this year or next year?
Next year. This year it's in London.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So I'm not going to make it to London.
Yeah.
But guys, I hope you liked the video, man. Leave a like on this thing, man. Let us get a sub if you enjoy it. Again, we do a lot of Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and of course movies and Star Wars stuff like that. So if you're interested in this, sub and you get more content. And until next time, guys, We out.